Hi, I'm Christina Fletcher, and welcome to our 3-part video challenge on fear. It's called Being Brave, How to Create Courage for Your Children and Yourself. For a little information, if you don't know anything about me, I am the coach, author, and course creator over at Spiritually Aware Parenting. I would love to see, before anything, just to throw this out there, I'd love to see you join me over in my community over on Facebook, which is the Spiritually Aware Parenting community. We are a fantastic group of supportive and loving parents, educators, caregivers, and coaches like myself who really create conscious parenting, positive parenting, and really self-development within parenting. That's my passion. My passion is truly to continue the journey of self-development that often we all found within our 20s or before parenting, when we would be starting to meditate and starting the pathway of looking into the deeper meaning of who we really are and the deeper versions of ourselves. And within that, we were growing and learning, and then all of a sudden we found ourselves parents. How do we continue that journey for ourselves? And how do we then pass on those tools that we've found for our children? That is truly my mission here. So in this 3-day video challenge, we are going to be diving into how to truly show up in bravery for our kids and for ourselves. How do we transform those feelings of fear, worry, stress, and launch that into a space of courage? We are going to be looking at the law of attraction and how, if we hold up the feeling space of fear, it never fails that we are bringing fearful experiences into our lives. And we're also going to be looking into a concept of faith, trust, and well-being in the sense of tapping in and tuning in to the wellness and love that flows to us and through us to our kids. It's going to be a bit of a jam-packed 3 days. So here's how we're going to work. Every day you're going to have a video like this one in your inbox along with a short exercise. And you're going to get that for the next 3 days. Then you're going to have a catch-up day. And then after that, we're going to go into a live call on the 13th. And we're going to dive into a live call, and then you can ask any questions and we can work through any specific things. Because here's the thing to know about fear. Fear is not just focused on one thing. Fear is an undercurrent that can flow through our lives. You've probably heard the thing, we can either live in fear or live in love. You either choose fear or love. And people hold those things up and you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. But it's actually so much deeper, because when you actually put that on, when you actually imagine it like glasses that you're putting on as a perspective, that overshadows everything. So we're looking today at the wide spectrum of fear, because this is 3 days. We don't have a whole load of time to go through each kind of fear and each focus of that fear and where that fear shows up for you. That is an individual thing, and I am happy to discuss that with you if you ever want to contact me, and we can dive into your own personal fear. But today, I want you to do that on your own. I want you to pull out the worksheet and answer the questions that you're going to find there, which is really, what is your fear? Let's just take a moment to sit with that. Because fear, when you have fear within you, sits deep down into your core center. We can have these spinning thoughts and go, oh yeah, but what if this, and what if that, and what if this, and what if that, and we can spin up here. But when you get a wave of fear, it hits you here, or it hits you within your heart. Fear is something that we energetically take in very quickly. And sometimes something can happen that sparks that fear. We can either read something, or we can hear about an event, or we can even experience an event that sparks that fear, and then we imprint it and we feel it within us. And then from that core center, then our perspective can shift to being in that state of fear, and it can overshadow most things we look at. And you can feel yourself going, well, no, that's not totally true. You know, we can all function without being scared of life. But when you actually ask yourself, how often does something happen, and the spark of, but what if, and you imagine the worst possible outcome for that, then you have to ask whether if that's your automatic reaction, which for most of us it can turn to that, then that means that a dominant perspective that you have is fear. So, there's a great quote, and that quote is that worry is simply using your imagination to imagine an unhappy outcome. And tomorrow, when we look at the law of attraction, we're going to remind ourselves that what you hold up always gets returned to you. So the process of standing brave in who you are and in your life starts with the recognition that what you hold up comes back. And so we have to be brave enough to ask the what if question for the positive. We have to be brave enough to stand up and imagine the happy outcomes. We have to hold up a sign of even just hope. If fear and love are the opposite scales of each other, then worry and hope are those same opposite scales. So it's inviting. Today's challenge is about inviting that other lens. And how do you do that? You've got to face that fear. We all have to go within and ask ourselves, what is it we're really afraid of? Not the thought processes that media can throw at us and people can talk about, and not the little stresses that fly through our heads and the little what ifs that flow. Rather, diving deep, going within and asking yourself, but what are you really afraid of? What is it that your heart sinks and you go, and you catch that breath and write that down. And then I want you to imagine that little gasp, that little heart flutter is actually your spiritual core, offering you an image of the opposite of what you desire. Did you catch that? If fear is the opposite of love, then that feeling of what you're afraid of is your spirit's way of saying, this is what we don't want, which means we know what we do want. Now, this can be as simple as saying, oh, I'm scared I'm going to fail my kids. And then you know that the opposite scale of that is, which means I want to do well for my kids. It can be a sense of, I'm really worried about my children out in public. I'm worried when my kids are alone. I don't want them to be at risk. And you go, well, then I know I want them to feel safe. I want to know that they are safe. So we're just working on these polars today. Because when you know what you don't want, you know what you do. And when you're holding up the side and perspective of what you don't want, you can't see what you do. So pick up the side of the story of what you do want and write it down. That's all you have to do today. That's all we're working on today. And then jump into the group. If you're a member of the group, Spiritually Aware Parenting Community, pop into the group and just point it out. What I want to feel is this. And we're going to take it from there. So I look forward to seeing you in the group, and I look forward to tomorrow's video when we'll be looking at the law of attraction and how we can practice what we want to hold it up as a sign to what we can allow in, rather than holding what we don't want and letting that in by default. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.